develop our project schedule, we perform a forward pass and a backward pass to determine where we have flexibility in our schedule. The primary goal is to protect the activities on the critical path. Identifying free float in non-critical path activities helps us to identify the activities which can lend flexibility in order to meet the critical path deadlines. If our critical path activities are running late and our deadline is at risk, we will rely on those activities with free float. Consider activity H. We can determine that there are 5 months of free float before the next activity, activity E, must begin. That is a lot of flexibility. Now let's say that we lose 2 full-time resources from activity C due to unexpected turnover. Now the critical path is in danger, and without intervention, our project will be delayed. Let's evaluate our non-critical activities to determine if a solution exists. Luckily, activity H requires the same skill set as activity C. Activity H currently has 4 full-time resources who will take 2 months to complete the activity. Take a moment to evaluate this situation and try to think of a solution. You may pause the video at any time to determine the answer, and then resume the video when you're ready to hear the correct answer. What if we take 2 full-time resources from activity H and shift them to activity C? If this was your solution, good thinking. This is called resource leveling. Obviously, we have to make some assumptions about the skill sets and abilities of the resources. If they aren't identical, we might adjust the number of resources that we shift accordingly. Once we begin to level resources, taking them from a non-critical activity and moving them to the critical activity, what will the result be? What will happen to activity H if we remove 2 of the 4 resources or cut the staffing for that activity in half? Feel free to pause the video at any time and resume when you're ready. If you said that activity H will double in duration because half of the resources have been lost, you are correct. Parametric estimating allows us to estimate and adjust durations based on the number of assigned resources. Now, activity H will take 4 months instead of 2, but there is no harm done. In fact, there are still 3 months of free float available on this activity. And because you were able to shift 2 resources to activity C to replace the 2 lost resources, the critical path has been protected and the overall project schedule can be met. This is an example of resource leveling. Resource leveling is a way to balance resource availability with the demands of various